What's going on, guys? It's B-Mel's, and it's a sad day for us Texans fans. J.J. Watt placed on IR after re-injuring his back. It's a big blow for a team that most of us had high hopes for coming into this season. And if you're most Texans fans, the favorite player on our team is J.J. Watt. He's the best player on defense in the NFL. He's the biggest impact we have on our team, even more than DeAndre Hopkins. And so, not really sure what this means for us. I don't see us being, deep playoff contenders or let alone Super Bowl contenders. I think we can still win the AFC South. But it's a rough day. I think a lot of people would agree that our Super Bowl chances probably just went out the window. And, we still have John Simon and Jadeveon Clowney and Whitney Merciless, three really good pass rushers in this league. But with J.J. Watt off the field, the best player in the NFL, at least on the defensive side of the ball, I don't see how there can't be more pressure on them, can't be a more broad of a blocking scheme that won't open them up as much without J.J. on the field. So I don't see them producing as much as they normally would with the threat of J.J. Watt on the edge. But it's a tough blow. We were going to have, in my opinion, a top 2 pass rush in this league. I think we were going to be fighting the Broncos for that, especially after DeMarcus Ware went down. But man, a defensive end we probably have the worst defensive ends in the NFL now. This is just going to trickle down to the rest of our defense, in my opinion. More responsibility is going to fall on the linebackers to stop the run. And then there's going to be more responsibility for our defensive backs to cover for a longer amount of time without, a great pass rush. I still think we're going to have a really good pass rush, but it's definitely not going to be elite after J.J. Watt went down. I still think we can win the AFC South, but when we need those big plays in the playoffs, that's J.J. Watt that's supposed to make those plays for us. And now he hasn't been super productive. He had a good game in week 2, 1.5 sacks, but he's just not. He's more of absorbing double teams and triple teams and opening it up for other people more than making plays. You can tell he hasn't been 100%. You can tell his motor's not as high because he's not 100%. So he's not the J.J. Watt we're accustomed to seeing. And it's just really disappointing. I'm not saying our season just went out down the drain, but, losing the best player on our football team is a big deal, especially when we have Super Bowl aspirations. Man, it's a tough day, especially with our offense not clicking as well as we would like it to, with Brock Osweiler turning the ball over, already putting more pressure on our defense. And now our defense isn't going to be able to take pressure off of our offense, at least as much as it would with J.J. Watt. But, man, this season's looking bleak right now for us. I'm usually a pretty positive fan. I usually see the good side of things, but, without J.J. Watt, I just see us only being able to go so far. I think it's almost equivalent to if the Panthers lost Cam Newton, if the Green Bay Packers lost Aaron Rodgers, if the Falcons lost Julio Jones, or if the Steelers lost Antonio Brown. They're going to be good football teams still, but they're only going to be able to go so far. And I really feel like J.J. Watt is our fire on defense. He's our playmaker on defense, in the run game, the pass rushing game, and just everything, in all aspects, and leadership, everything. So we're losing a leader, a playmaker, an elite pass rusher, an elite run stuffer. We're losing a big player and a guy that takes double teams and triple teams and opens it up for everybody else. I really do believe that JJ is a big reason why our defense is so good. But looking back at the preseason, J.J. Watt, they did that MRI on J.J. Watt near the beginning of the preseason. Why was that MRI not done earlier? I'm not really sure when he actually injured his back. Was it during last season or was it during a workout? I don't know. If it was during last season or the postseason or in the Chiefs game or whatever, why wasn't this checked out earlier? He was playing hurt. He clearly wasn't 100% based on the first 3 games. He had a pretty good, week 2 game with 1.5 sacks, but Those sacks are really all that he did in that game. Usually you see those big-time effort plays, especially against the run, catching running backs from behind, crossing the offensive line. So, we just didn't – it clearly wasn't the same J.J. Watt. So why he was even on the field if he wasn't 100%, if he wasn't even making an impact, I don't know why he was on the field. But back injuries, man, especially one like this could nag him for the rest of his career if he's not careful. If the Texans don't take care of him better than they have clearly been doing, hopefully this just isn't an injury that'll affect him the rest of his career. I'm not one of those guys that tries to find a blame for everything, for every problem, but I feel like the Texans organization mishandled this pretty horribly. I think he was in a bad, health position from the start, and then he played, and you got J.J. Watt's got to have an injury like this not to play. I understand that, but he's our best football player. This is a long season. We were 2-0. He wasn't even being a huge impact. We had a huge divisional game the next week against the Titans. It is a big game, but it is against the Titans, whose offense is really struggling right now. So I felt like he could have 2 weeks of rest. I mean, these back injuries, he was going to be affected by this all season no matter what. But this is something that you got to be careful with. I mean, and this shows why you have to be so careful with these back injuries, especially these spinal injuries. But now he's on IR. Can't really do anything about it. Got to look forward. I still have really high hopes for this team. I still think we can really contend to go, some length into the playoffs. Because our defense has been playing well without JJ, minus the Patriots game. But I think we just got out-coached by the Patriots. I don't think that they just flat out outplayed us. But we're going to see real quick how our defense is going to look without J.J. Watt on the field. We're playing the Titans this week. It's not going to be, an overly tough game. I think it's a game we can win. I also think it's a game that we can lose if we're not careful, especially with how, Brock Osweiler likes to turn the ball over and not being the quarterback that I envisioned him to be, where he makes good decisions and throws the deep ball. I mean, I thought he was going to be Brian Hoyer with the deep ball. That's what I thought he was going to be. Good decision maker, but can stretch the field. So we're going to see how Bill O'Brien adjusts after absolutely getting our asses kicked on Thursday night, especially because we have a long week. But we're going to see how Bill O'Brien adjusts. I'm a pretty big fan of Bill O'Brien. I think he can be a pretty damn good coach in this league, but we're going to see how he bounces back from Thursday, and hopefully we beat a team that we are supposed to be in the Tennessee Titans. Keep your thoughts and prayers with JJ that he recovers fully from this and he's ready for next season. But we're going to see what type of guys we really do have, especially on the defensive side of the ball for the rest of this season. So leave a comment down below if you guys enjoyed. Leave the video a thumbs up. And most importantly, guys, subscribe for more NFL content and Texans recap. And I'll see you guys next time.